Patches and the Very Special Diagnosis, written by Sophie Marsh.
I'm delighted to recommend this booklet to patients and their families. It is so important for children to realise they are not alone at the point of diagnosis. This story illustrates the amazing work that the CTT are doing in bringing families together who are affected by an F1. You are not alone.
Me, Patches the giraffe. Patches lives at home with Mum and Dad in the grasslands of Africa. Patches loves playing with the other animals, going to school and finding the very best leaves to eat. Patches is quite a normal little giraffe who likes doing all the normal giraffe things.
One day, the family got some big news, and things didn't feel quite so normal for a while.
Patches and family had gone to the hospital to see the doctor. They didn't mind going. Everyone had to go sometimes. And the doctors and nurses were always friendly and kind.
Even better, there was loads of drawings on the wall that Patches loved to look at.
While Mum and Dad were busy talking to the doctor, Patches wasn't really listening. The little giraffe was too busy looking at the colourful artwork on the walls. But then the doctor said something that sounded important, and Patches' ears twitched, eager to listen in. The grown-up animals are all talking about something called a diagnosis.
What a funny word, Patches thought. I've never heard that word before. It sounded complicated. What did it mean?
The doctor turned to look at Patches and said, "Your diagnosis is something called neurofibromatosis type 1. What's that? It didn't explain anything at all. Now there were two very funny words that didn't make sense. Patches couldn't even say neurofibromatosis. We call it NF1 for short because it's a very tricky word to say, said the doctor.
Well, that still didn't explain anything either. Poor Patches felt confused. What was a diagnosis? What was an F1? What did it all mean? Patches had lots of questions, but the words wouldn't come out. It feels like we're stuck in my throat, thought Patches. There's butterflies in my tummy, and my long legs feel wobbly too. This did not feel like a normal day.
Luckily, the clever doctor seemed to know that even though Patches hadn't said anything, there were still lots of questions, and so they started to explain some more.
NF1 is a condition that makes you a little bit different to some of the other animals. It can cause brown marks, just like the ones you have on your skin, they said.
Patches couldn't decide if being different was a good thing or a bad thing. It was kind of nice feeling different and special, but it wasn't so nice to feel a little bit alone and worried.
Patches asked if anyone else in the family had NF1. But it turned out that Patches was the first one in their family.
The doctor explained that in some other families, a mum or a dad could have NF1 and pass it on to their children. The doctor explained that just like parents pass on their eye or hair colour, sometimes they could pass on a diagnosis too.
And even though there wasn't anyone else in the Patches family with the diagnosis, there were lots of others that had NF1. So Patches was definitely not alone.
The doctor said that maybe one day they could all talk or even meet each other. That would be so fun.
Meeting new friends was so exciting, and they would have a lot to talk about together. They had a very special diagnosis.
So NF1 means I have some brown marks on my skin and some new friends who are just like me, Patches asked. This didn't sound so bad after all.
That's right. It also means you have to visit the hospital too. NF1 can cause some other changes to your body. So we have lots of clever doctors looking after you. They'll keep checking to make sure you stay happy and healthy, explained the doctor, and that was that.
After that not so quite normal day, Patches went home with Mum and Dad and the new diagnosis, and things mostly went back to normal. Patches played with the other animals in the grasslands, learned lots of new things at school, and ate lots of yummy green leaves. That stuff all stayed the same as before.
But some things have changed too. After learning about those big, funny words, diagnosis, and neurofibromatosis, Patches went to the hospital regularly for special appointments and was happy to see all the lovely doctors and nurses lots and lots.
But the very best changeable was making some very special new friends, just like the doctor said they might. Thanks to having the NF1 diagnosis, Patches was now part of a very special group, full of very special NF warriors, just like Patches.
Okay. I'm an NF friend. I am an NF warrior. I have NF1. My sister has NF1. Warrior Sophie. I'm an NF friend. I have NF1. I am an NF friend. BFF. You have NF1. You alone.